Is ChatGPT a good thing for speeches? Insert auto-generated response here. Welcome to Communication Q&A, folks. My name is Lauren Sergi, and someone has given me a very timely and provoking question. Hi, Lauren. What are your thoughts on using ChatGPT for writing speeches? Mark, was it your intent to wave a big old bowl of catnip right under my nose? Because that's what this question is. Let's start with an assumption. Based on your question, I'm going to assume that you're asking if it's okay to have ChatGPT create whole cloth speeches for you, or at the very least, to have it do the bulk of the composition. To which I say, why do I say that? Here we go. Let's summarize what ChatGPT is. Simply put, very simply put, it's a language imitation program wrapped around an autoresponder. It creates responses by aggregating huge amounts of training data that programmers put into it, and it gives its answers in natural language in a way that sounds human. It does not reason. It does not invent. It cannot create anything truly novel. It isn't even able to ask you for clarification if your question doesn't make any sense. It might be a type of artificial intelligence, but the key word here is artificial. It can't actually think. This creates a host of problems when using it for creative work like speech writing. Problem number one, you can't trust its output. ChatGPT answers are A, subject to whatever biases exist in the training data, and B, unreliable. You may have heard that ChatGPT has hallucinations. Here's technology futurist Bernard Marr's explanation on what those are. Hallucinations in AI refers to the generation of outputs that may sound plausible, but are either factually incorrect or unrelated to the given context. These outputs often emerge from the AI model's inherent biases, lack of real-world understanding, or training data limitations. In other words, the AI system hallucinates information that it has not been explicitly trained on, leading to unreliable or misleading responses. In other words, it makes it up. If the program doesn't have reliable training data that gives explicit answers to your questions, precise answers, then it's going to take the info it does have and kind of smash it together to make up a response without any regard for accuracy. But the answers might look good, and that can easily fool people into thinking that they are. So unless you fact-check the outputs, you won't know if what ChatGPT spat out at you is reliable or if it's auto-generated hogwash. There's a spectacular example of this in the case of a lawsuit filed by Roberto Matta against Avianca, a now defunct airline. Mr. Matta's lawyers filed a brief with the judge that supposedly contained federal court case citations that would help back up their lawsuit. But there was a big problem. The citations were all fake. The lawyers asked ChatGPT for legal citations that would support their case. ChatGPT found in its training data real federal cases and scraped together a grab bag of info like the names of judges, of plaintiffs, details of different cases, and so on. It then knit that disparate info together to create fake federal legal citations that followed the standardized format. You wanted a citation? Here you go. Here's a citation. Not a real one, but it sure looks like what you asked for. The lawyers didn't bother to check whether or not these citations were real. They assumed they were. The judge caught them with their proverbial pants down, and they're now facing some spectacular repercussions. If you'd like to know more, I strongly recommend you check out Legal Eagle's video, How to Use ChatGPT to Ruin Your Legal Career, to get the whole story. It's great. I'll post the link down below. The next issue with using ChatGPT is that it has neither style nor creativity. It's imitating both these things, and the end result is content that is utterly lacking in insight. The speeches tend to be very shallow with lots of pedestrian statements and repetitive ideas that will bore your audience. It's pablum hidden under fancy garnish. Here's what I mean. I asked ChatGPT to write me a speech about how kitchens influence society. I just grabbed that out of thin air, and it gave me this. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow enthusiasts of history and culture, today I stand before you to shed light on a realm of human existence that is often overlooked, the kitchen. Beyond being a mere place for culinary endeavors, kitchens have been an integral part of our society, playing a profound role in shaping our traditions, technologies, and social dynamics. As we delve into this topic, let us recognize the undeniable influence that kitchens have exerted on our collective journey as a civilization. Throughout history, the kitchen has served as the heart of the home, the epicenter of family life. It is in this sacred space that recipes are passed down through generations, where culinary skills are honed, and where memories are created and preserved. The kitchen fosters the warmth of companionship and togetherness, instilling values of cooperation and unity among family members. Are you asleep yet? From a content standpoint, most of these paragraphs are just the same sentence that's been reworked in several ways. It uses a lot of fancy words to say very little. There's no substance. But speeches aren't just about content alone. Style matters too. From a stylistic standpoint, it sounds like a robot's idea of what a speech is based on a bunch of college freshman speech contest entries. If this was a satire on pompous speech forms, it might be usable, but as a sincere speech, it's just bad. Now, to be fair, the type of output you get from ChatGPT does depend on the prompts that you use. So I rephrased my original request to ask it to write me an informal speech about how kitchens have influenced society. Here's what I got, and this is verbatim, including all punctuation. Hey everyone, gather round! Today we're going to talk about something that's close to all our hearts and stomachs, kitchens and how they've influenced our society. I know it might sound odd, but trust me, it's fascinating. So picture this. Back in the day, kitchens were just small, hidden corners where someone prepared food. But oh boy, have things changed. Now the kitchen has become the heart and soul of our homes. It's where magic happens, where we create culinary masterpieces, or sometimes just epic kitchen disasters. Boy, howdy, ChatGPT sure does associate informal with old-timey folksiness. And wow, are there ever a lot of exclamation marks. It's super duper keen, folks. It's terrible. And that leads us straight into my third point in this rant. Most people don't talk like this. Mark, I'm willing to bet that if you used either of these speeches, you wouldn't sound like you. ChatGPT doesn't know what you sound like. It can't possibly know that. So whatever speech it generates for you will likely come across as insincere or just plain weird. You would need to do some very heavy editing to make sure that your unique voice, your mannerisms, the expressions you like to use come through in the speech. Otherwise, you might just as well read from the big book of all-purpose speeches that you got from the Barnes & Noble clearance shelf for $5.99. Does all this mean that ChatGPT is useless? Far from it. I know lots of people who use it to kickstart the creative process. Can you use ChatGPT to brainstorm ideas? Absolutely. Could it be a wall against which you bounce your thoughts? Sure, that could be a big help for some. But don't let it lure you into using it to create and write your speech for you. If you want a good speech with reliable information and interesting content that matches how you actually speak, you'll need to put in the effort rather than outsourcing it to a bot. There you go, Mark. You asked for my thoughts and you got them, but I'm sure you can handle it if you feel differently. To everyone watching, if you enjoyed this little rant of mine, please do click the like button and subscribe to my channel while you're at it. It really does help my channel grow. And if you'd like even more stuff on communication, including interviews, information, and resources that I only share with my email subscribers, head over to laurensergi.com and sign up in the pop-up. Thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you on the next Communication Q&A.